Hello and welcome to the channel. In this morning's video, I'm making flour. If you'd like to see how I make my flour, stay tuned. In order to make flour out of wheat berries, you first need wheat berries. What I have here are 3 different wheat berries that I keep in my home for different projects that may be going on. This one is an einkorn wheat. This one is a white berry hard winter wheat. I bought this wheat from a different place than I bought the other 2. I also have a spelt, a whole organic spelt. So this whole bucket is spelt. This entire bucket is the white winter hard wheat, and this one is the einkorn, and they all relatively look the same. And let me show you what they look like. Open up my bucket. This is what wheat berries look like. Can you all see that? That is a wheat berry. Excuse me, my voice is not ready today. This is a wheat berry, just like that. And they all, excuse me, they all relatively look the same, as I mentioned. And in order to make flour, you need wheat berries. Now I'm going to put some information in the description box below about the 3 main parts of wheat berries. And one of the reasons why I grind my own wheat and I stopped buying ground flour probably about 7 or so years ago is because you get more health benefits out of grinding your own wheat berries. Now, I have a VitaMix. This is my old faithful VitaMix. I've had this for probably 20 some odd years. I recently had to change the drive shaft, I think is what it's called, in it. I did that myself. I did that last night. I really like this one. I have another one. I had to purchase another one because I was in the middle of making pesto when this one died on me. So this one has been inoperable for the better part of probably 2 years. I just hadn't gotten around to fixing it. It was a little intimidating. And so when I finally sat down and looked at the piece and looked at what was required to make this operable again, it really wasn't that bad. So I was able to take care of that last night. Now, one of the reasons why I like the VitaMix, besides the fact that when you're newly married, that's how I got this. I think in the first 5 years of marriage, this was one of the gifts I received being a newly married person. I also got a vacuum cleaner somewhere in that time frame. So these are the gifts that I received, and I've had them for a very long time. The reason why I like this one is because it came with a dry canister and a wet canister. And before we start grinding any berries, I want to show you the difference. Now, this is my new VitaMix canister. The only reason why I like the new VitaMix is because of the canister. I really don't care for the unit itself. It could be because it's new and I don't really take or gravitate to a lot of new. Once I have something, I try to keep it. I like the old. It's just me. I like the canister because it has a rubber handle, a really thick, big rubber handle. The canister itself, as you can see, is pretty weighty. It's very large. The old canister has just the regular plastic handle, and it's not that large. It's really compact and tall, and I don't really care for that. Outside of that, I really enjoyed having this. I didn't realize how beneficial this was until many years after having this. I just, like many things in my kitchen, it sat unused, and I rarely ever use it for its main purpose. But now that I know how wonderful it is, and I've had it for 20 years, I couldn't see being without it. So the liquid canister has different blades. That's how you know this is for liquid. So there are two different canisters, one for liquid and one for dry goods. Now, besides it saying dry canister on the back, I don't know if you all can see that, the blade is different. Now I'm going to try to do a side by side. Can you all see the difference in the blades there? There's a difference in the blades. And so this is what I use to make all of my dry goods. As you can see, it's really loved. It's old. it has seen better days, but I really like it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wheat berries and I'm going to grind them down. You're only supposed to grind them for 1 minute. I've got 1 minute on the timer over there on the refrigerator. So what I'm going to do is take, once I get this back open, I am going to take 2 cups. Now you should only grind 2 cups of wheat berries at a time. So 2 cups is what I'm going to grind. The reason why I'm grinding wheat today is because I have no more ground flour and I need some ground flour. I'm all out of tortillas and I need some in my life. So I have to make flour. I don't know if I've mentioned to you, and this is a 1 cup measuring cup. I know I didn't mention that before I dumped it in the canister, but there are 2 types of measuring apparatuses. There's wet and there's dry. And this is for dry. It's best not to use a wet measurer. That's the right word. It's best not to use a wet measurer for dry goods. You will end up having more product if you use a wet measuring tool for dry goods. And these are all for dry. And I'm going to show you in just 1 second what a wet measurer looks like. Put this in the canister first. So that's 2 cups of wheat berries. And I'm using einkorn this morning. So we're going to close this up. We're going to put this away. And I'm going to show you what a wet measurer looks like. As I mentioned, these are for dry measuring. These are for wet measuring. Now they look different. You could have a different one. I have more than just these, but these are the ones I gravitate towards more often. But this is for wet and this is for dry. And if you're going to be using wet, it's best to use wet and dry and dry. So let me show you one more thing before we get to grinding these berries. I'm sure someone's going to ask me, well, where did you get the white buckets? Well, I buy a lot in bulk, and it comes just like this in this white bucket. Now, these wheat berries came from an online store that I have been purchasing from for years, and I hope you all can see. If you need to pause the video, you can. I am more than willing to share where I get the items that I use in my kitchen. But I've been buying bulk items, beans, wheat berries, honey from this company for years. And it's called Bread Becker. And they have, again, I hope you all can see that. What I can do is I can put this information in the description box below, and you can visit the site yourself if you're interested in buying your own wheat berries. Now, you don't have to buy wheat berries online. I also get wheat berries in the store. My spelt I buy locally. I happen to go to a place that's kind of like Sprouts or Whole Foods. It's called Natural Grocers, and they sell wheat berries, and I buy the spelt in 2-pound bags at that store. And because I did have an empty bucket, I put my spelt in that bucket, and that way I know that all my wheat berries are kept in a dry, sealed, food safe bucket. So now let's get down to making some flour. Now that I'm ready, I'm going to place my cap on my canister. I didn't secure it down all the way. It's hard to get off. Now, I have not really tested my blender to see if it is going to work properly. Like I said, I just changed the drive mechanism. So I did use water, but I haven't blended anything other than water. So fingers crossed that this works. If not, I'm going to have to pull out my Old Faithful and give this another review, call the technician, and see if something else needs to be done with it. So fingers crossed. So what you do is you turn it on 1, and then it's loud. So I'm gonna turn this down so that you guys don't hear all the noise. But let's get started. I'm so excited, y'all. My blender is working again. Yay! It's supposed to go for 1 minute. I turned it off a few minutes before 1 minute because I felt like it was done. And you don't want it to get excessively hot because it will get hot. And that, my friends, is flour, wheat flour. Now, what I usually do is keep this in the refrigerator. I don't sift it. Every part of the wheat berry I use, let me get my bag. I keep a bag in the refrigerator. I'm sure I could probably need to put this in a glass container, but for right now, this is the method I've been using for several years now. And so what I do is I just take the flour and pour it into the bag, trying not to spill it all over the counter. And I'm going to have to get a spatula to get the rest of it out because it is a little stuck. It got a little hotter than I would have liked. That's one of the reasons why I turned it off. But let me get this out. Okay, so I have banged it with my hand, and I'm gonna pour the rest of it in the bag, just like so. And that, my friends, is flour. Let me get a spoon over here so that you all can see. That right there is flour. Finely ground flour, just like that. So if you happen to have a high-powered blender, such as a VitaMix, I do believe there are other blenders out there that are high-powered. It does not have to be a VitaMix. As long as it's a high-powered blender and you have a way to grind down dry contents without it heating up too much, I recommend trying to create your own flour. So then now what I normally do is put this in the refrigerator. Probably the better idea is to put this in the freezer so that it stays fresher longer. Fresh flour will go rancid if it's been sitting for too long. So if you grind it, you need to use it. And so that, my friends, is flour. I hope you all enjoyed today's quick tutorial. If you did, give me that like button, leave me a comment, share this video, and I want to say thank you for joining me quickly in the kitchen today. Let me clean up my mess and get ready to make some tortillas because I need them in my life. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you either in my kitchen or my garden real soon. Bye for now.